Pepsi can is, what, that's so weird that they got Pepsi to like sign off on something like this. The idea behind this toy line was that it's a very Tron-like storyline. They're computer viruses who have escaped from the computer. Well, the bad guy viruses escaped from the computer, so the good guy viruses followed them out to stop them. And in the process, they have turned household items into vehicles and bases. So that's the principle behind it. So the whole gimmick of the toy line is that every single item that you buy is supposed to be a real working household item of some sort, or at least look like it, and then it opens up and it turns into stuff. So like the Pepsi can looks like a real Pepsi can, it's about the size of a real Pepsi can, it folds open and reveals like a little helicopter type thing. But they had stuff like, the clock has an actual digital clock on it that you can set and use, and it had an alarm, and then it opened up into a little play set. The pencil sharpener was a real pencil sharpener, just, like not an electric pencil sharpener, but still, it could sharpen your pencil if you want. And then there was like the flashlight. I brought the flashlight with me. Unfortunately, it doesn't work anymore. I'm sure they used the cheapest electronics they could with it. But when you bought these brand new, you could actually put 2 AA batteries in here, and you could use this as a flashlight. But then the whole thing converts into like this crazy like little rocket ship thing. Let's see, it's dark up here. These open on the side. The wings, just like that. This is really all it does. I mean, it's super simplistic. Turns into this crazy little rocket ship, and then you got the little bitty guys, which I really like, and the backs of them look like computer chips or like motherboards, which I always thought was really cool. And then you just put the little guy in the rocket ship. Here you go. Flashlight into a rocket ship. Real simple, real weird, but I just thought they were a lot of fun. And the little figures, I think, are what really stands out in these, especially since they're small. So I always thought little tiny figures like this were cool. They kind of fit right in with like Mask, if anybody remembers Mask figures and stuff like that. They were right around the same scale, very cool, basic articulation, but they're really fun designs. I got some good close-ups for you. So you can see the back of them, how they kind of look like the inside of a computer board or something like that. They all have that little feature there. And then, you got stuff like the little flashlight there, some close-up pictures of it. And opening up, turning into a little rocket ship. So just real fun, real wacky designs. Didn't last long, didn't catch on. I liked them. I thought they were cool. I had the soccer ball one as a kid. It's the one I specifically remember. It's supposed to be like a soccer ball trophy, but it just looks like a soccer ball. But it's called a soccer ball trophy. And then it opened up into like this radar dish cannon with a little guy inside. It was really cool. So.
And you're right. What's going on? Joey's playing some food again, Mom.
Joey's playing with his food again, Mom. Man, I love these old commercials. The Food Fighters, 1989 Mattel. This might be one of the weirdest toy lines I have ever seen made. I want to know what the board meeting was like when they came up with this toy line. Yeah. Like, well, guys, He-Man is done. G.I. Joe is really popular right now. We need something that's like that but different. Food fight? What? How'd you come up with food fighters? Kids like throwing food in cafeterias, right?
Yeah.
Let's put those guys in military uniforms. So that's the idea. I mean, like, the whole marketing campaign around this was about, like, food fights, fighting in the cafeteria, playing with your food. It's a weird toy line, but I love it so much because the designs of these characters are just, they're so wonderful. Like, the details that they put into these sculpts are just amazing to me, that they put so much effort into something so weird. The French fries are my absolute favorite. Fat Frenchie is his name. I got him right up here. So you can see these tiny little guys. They were really cool because they got these buff, muscular arms just jutting out of the sides of their bodies. They got the combat boots at the bottom. They're all wearing little military helmets, and they all come with little backpacks that are removable. You can tell the difference between the good guys and the bad guys by the colors of their gear. So all the bad guys had black, and all the good guys had the military green. Here's Private Pizza.
I got him.
Private Pizza is kind of amazing because he's got a pepperoni eye patch. Which is just amazing. I mean, these are so weird. So yeah, this is Brigadier General right here. He's the leader of the good guys. Look at the ketchup and the like cheese squirting out of his mouth. Yeah. The green? I think that's just his backpack sticking off the back. Yeah. And you can see some of the other good guys there, like their donut. I think Major Munch was the donut's name. Yeah, Private Pizza. There's Private Pizza. See his eye patch made of pepperoni? That's so good. The chicken leg, the drumstick. How good is that? There's a Mean Wiener is the villain. He's the leader of the bad guy battalion. And then yeah, you got Fat Frenchie and Sergeant Stacks, I believe, is the Chip. I think Chip the Ripper was the cookie's name. Yep. And Taco Terror is the taco guy. He's kind of amazing, by the way. I love the taco. But this line, like, it's amazing because they really only had the initial wave of figures, and then they released them all again in different colors. So, like, they re-released the donut with pink icing instead of chocolate icing, and they released the ice cream as orange ice cream instead of chocolate ice cream. So they just released the same guys in different colors, but it's amazing to me that they even got as far as releasing vehicles for this line. And you saw the one in the commercial, which is my favorite. It's the combat carton. It's an egg carton that they've converted into like a military tank, and you can see it's got a giant bottle of ketchup on top, which is their cannon, and you can position a guy up there on the top to blast off with the ketchup. It's amazing. And you can open it up and stuff a bunch of the figures on the inside. So just a really weird, really bizarre toy line, and I love it. So very cool. So any of you guys have any of this stuff or remember any of this stuff out there? I'm at a convention. He's like $600, and I just can't pay that much money for one loose action figure. That's too much. So that's the kind of thing you always hope to find while you're digging through a bin of toys. And you never know what you're gonna find in those things. So that's always in the back of my head when I'm digging through those bins. $2 for any toy in this bin. Okay, here we go. You never know. You might kind of encourage it, especially with my kids, especially with everybody that I'm talking to in my videos. But, I mean, if he wants to just set them up and display them, I mean, that's cool too, right?
Yeah,
Does he, like, organize them specifically?
Absolutely. We've
Oh,
got
that's cool.
the new Turtles play set right in the living room, and every surface is covered.
Does he set up, like, battles with them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think that's just his way of playing with them. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's great.
I try to get them to change it like once a week. Like, all right.
Totally.
What's going on this episode?
I think that's what's going on this episode. I like it. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because even with my collection, I can't display everything. I have too much stuff. So I can't display everything at once, so I do kind of go in waves sometimes. I'll get to a point where I'm like, I think I'm tired of looking at this specific display. Maybe I'll put it away and I'll get something else out for a while, put something else up on the shelf. So I always tell people, rotate it a little bit. It keeps it fresh. It lets you kind of rediscover the stuff that you have. Maybe it lets you decide if it's something that you really need to keep or not, because then you can purge some stuff and go buy new toys, So yeah, I think rearranging the display is totally cool. I think encourage them to do that more often. I think that'd be great. Cool. All right, we'll go up here.
How do you display that? How do you store this stuff that you have in the display?
How do I store it? Ugh. So I get asked all the time why I haven't done a recent video of my toy room. That's why. I have so many piles of stuff. It's bad. I have a lot of Rubbermaid totes, and I try to keep things. Yeah, and I've also heard from some people that putting them in like baggies isn't necessarily good for them for extended storage, but that's what I tend to do. I usually put them in baggies so I don't lose the weapons and stuff, and then I put them in these Rubbermaid totes. And that seems to work the best for me, so that's kind of how I store things when I'm not displaying it. It especially works good with package stuff too. You can usually kind of stack if you're keeping things in the package, put them in the Rubbermaid totes. That way if there's a flood or something in your basement, it's just the worst thing. The Rubbermaid totes will protect them. So, there's a question. We'll go with Ash over here.
Just out of curiosity, do you collect like any of the fast food toy lines, like the
Yes.
McDonald's Burger King? If so, what would you say is like the weirdest of the sets that you came across throughout the whole fast food?
McDonald's changeables.
Oh,
It was a line, and I almost included it in my list today because it's one of my favorite. It's definitely my favorite custom food. Do you guys remember those? You know what I'm talking about? They were McDonald's food that turned into robots. So there was chicken nuggets and a cheeseburger and a drink and French fries, and they transformed into robots because it was out of the height of the Transformers popularity. Those are awesome. And then they did a follow-up to that where they turned into dinosaurs. They did a dinosaur line too.
Way
So
weirder.
definitely that's my favorite. Weird.
I've seen a few of your videos and you have a lot of stuff. How do you decide when it's time to, get rid of certain things? Because you go through so much trouble collecting and acquiring some of this stuff and you want to hold on to it, but at some point you realize you gotta let some of it go.
Absolutely.
Either because your drawers are overflowing or just because you want to get something else and you got no other option.
Absolutely, yeah, that's always a tough thing. With my collection, I have a few main things that I collect that I've basically forbidden myself to get rid of because I know I'll regret it. My Masters of the Universe collection and my Ninja Turtles collection are my two top priorities. And I've spent so much time over the years collecting things for that I don't think I will be, if I ever have to sell all my stuff, those will absolutely be the things I hold on to the longest because there's just too much there. I've invested too much time and love into it. But there's a lot of random things that I buy, and you do kind of get to a point sometimes where you're going through and you're just looking at all the stuff and you're just like, do I really need all this stuff? So what I usually do is I start to evaluate kind of all the impulse buys that I had, and I look at the stuff that I bought because I thought it was cool at the time, and you kind of decide, have I gotten all the joy out of this that I could? Am I going to feel bad if I get rid of this? If you have any doubt about it, I usually try to hold off on selling it, because if you're feeling immediately like, I don't know if I want to get rid of this, you're probably going to regret getting rid of it at some point. But if it's something that you pick up and you're like, oh, this is cool, but maybe I don't actually need this anymore. That seems to be the best route for me. I just kind of go through everything, especially the stuff I picked up on impulse or something I thought was cool at the time. Just decide if I'm done with it, if I got my joy out of it. Maybe it's time to move on to somebody else that might.
Yeah, I get the feeling. I do the same thing with DVDs and Blu-rays.
Absolutely, yeah. That really goes for anything that you're collecting, honestly, not just toys. Video games too, all that stuff.
I was wondering if you had any resources for tracking distribution. What I do is I play these turtles, and I never know when they're going to be rolling out.
Man,
It's so like a crapshoot.
I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't. A lot of times I find out about the new Turtle stuff when people are tweeting me saying, I just found so-and-so at Target. And I'm like, great, now I have to go stop Target for the next week so that I can get this figure to review it. It is weird, especially with a lot of the, it's kind of different too, because with a lot of the collector stuff, they do have specific release dates.
Seriously. But it's
Yeah.
a toy in general.
Exactly, yeah, and then that's the other thing. Toys these days don't really work the way toys did when we were kids. When we were kids, we could walk into a store and pretty much just buy anything whenever we wanted to, for the most part. This day and age, they release a wave of toys, and when the wave of toys sells out, that's it, it's gone. And then, they don't always refresh them or bring them back. And that's just the way the industry as a whole has changed, and costs are a lot higher these days, so companies don't really make evergreen items anymore, meaning they don't keep producing them. Usually they go through production run, and once it sells out, they determine at that point if it's worth it for them to go into a second run of it or not. And a lot of times too, this day and age, a toy line has to have accompanying media of some sort in order for retail to even want to carry it. So in the case of something like Ninja Turtles, they have a very successful cartoon series right now. So of course retail wants to have space for Ninja Turtles because it's going to be a moneymaker. Kids are going to buy it. But when somebody's releasing a line of toys that doesn't necessarily have a toy or a movie tied to it, retail is a lot more hesitant these days to actually bring that into their stores because they don't know if it's going to sell if they don't think that kids are going to know what the stuff is. Times have really changed. It's really weird. The 80s were a golden age for toys and weird stuff because anybody could just kind of make anything and put it in stores back then, and we bought it. We didn't have to have cartoons for everything. It's weird.
What I noticed is that after I find the thing I've been looking for a year for, then it's everywhere.
Oh, that's the worst, isn't it?
We spend a lot of money for it, not place many outside.
Okay, I got 5 minutes, guys, and I got a video that I want to show you too. So I'm gonna pull out of this because this hasn't been working too great. I'm gonna go into actually my folder here. Was there a couple more questions too? I'm gonna answer a couple more for you real quick. Right there, with the phone.
Dan, have you ever? I know you were saying that obviously GoBots, the great knockoff Kmart, Transformers. Have you ever heard of Motobots? Does that ring a bell for you?
Motobots. No.
Yeah, made by MC Toys. They have like a little spring-powered drive you put in the back, and they just kind of flip out with their legs and their arms and a little pop-up
Really?
head. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen those.
Yeah,
I learn
yeah.
something new every day.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert by any means. That's really cool. All right, let's go ahead and do this. And I want to show you guys. So I'm working on something new, and I wanted to show you guys just a quick little teaser video today, if that's cool. I do a lot of the toy review stuff